What's going on YouTube? Fuzzy Wuzzy here, playing with this Lincoln again. I know it's been a while. I've been doing a lot of other shit since this is kind of just like a fucking around project. It doesn't take priority. I got the door welded up. I don't even want to show you that abortion. That I messed that all up. I'm gonna fix that before I show it to you. Anywho, let's get this post in here. You gotta get this post in here so we can get the back door in here. Now what I did is, this is just the way it was fitting in there. You know, like that. It wasn't lining up anymore because we moved it back. It used to be there, in between there. Moved it back. So what I did is I just took a little slice out of it, and that will bend. That'll bend right up. Clamp it down, yada yada yada. Put a clamp in there so it all lines up. That's an 1/8 of an inch gap, and I gotta fill it now, and it sucks. The only reason I got that big of a gap is because I had to use my 7-inch cutoff wheel there so I can cut through both layers of metal. And I got the Harbor Freight wheels on it, and those things are 1/8 of an inch thick, and I fucking hate them. God, I hate those wheels. And my little grinder there, they're real thin, not even a 1/16 of an inch, but those big bastards, I hate them. They leave that big ass gap there. And this right here, I'm not too concerned about making that look pretty. I don't really care, because there's just big piece of metal is going to go over it, the door skin. It just has to be structural. Know what I mean? This is the shit that has to look good. This, I'll probably just run some metal in there and make it sound and call it a day. Okay, YouTube, we are back. I got this welded in, ground down, looking good. Not so much back there, but I don't give a shit about back there. Cut that off just so it looks better aesthetically. It's turned out okay. Let me turn that light down. This turned out okay. It blended alright. I'll put a picture of it before I ground it. Right here. Yeah, that's cool. We're ready for this back door. I also straightened out the front door. She still ain't the straightest door in the world, but what are you gonna do? You live, you learn. This is a exercise in my sheet metal skills, and I am learning a lot. I am learning I don't fucking like it. Anyway, it had this big dent in it right here, right down the seam. So I cut a patch out that big, and I cut more out of that door right there. Welded this in here, and it looks a whole lot better. I'll put a picture of it right here of what it looked like the first time I did it. I also didn't grind it as much, because that grinding, it puts heat in the metal, makes it warp even more. Anywho, live, learn. We're getting there. I think I can bolt this sucker on for one last time. But first, while I'm in a cutting mood, I think I'm going to cut this back door in half. Now the hinges are still here. They're not going to play any part since it's going to be welded shut. But they will help me hold this part of the door. I don't know how short to make it, because that shit's looking pretty narrow right there before it starts going into the curve and then back up. So I think I'm just going to cut it not too far past that curve right there. Technically, I could measure how much I moved the post back and how much I added to that door and just subtract it from this door. And theoretically, it should fit, but I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't. So I'm just going to do it the old school way. Cut the door in half, bolt this part on, hold it up, and measure. Alrighty. Let's go cut that door up over there. she's a cute little door, isn't she? That bolted back up just fine. You can really see now how the roof line is changing. That's kind of at an angle now, where it used to be, you know, up in here and it was nice and flat. So that's gonna look weird, but we can grind that back. For this rear door, I'm just gonna do the same thing I did on the front door, only instead of extending, I'm gonna shrink. So I'm just gonna measure from there to there, get my distance, cut it out of what's left of that door way over there. I'm gonna skip some scenes here, but I'll bring you back when it's tacked up. I just want to get this done and moving. Well, YouTube, I fucked up again. I said I was gonna bring you back when that's all tacked up, but I was like, man, let me throw that front door back on, make sure the body line's gonna line up and everything. And this is where I fucked up. I was concerned about the body line, but I didn't think about that door gap. It's a little larger than what I want, and since this is already bolted in, that means the post was a little off. The post needed to come forward just a little bit. I'm going to get around that by unbolting it from the post, the back door, and just sliding it forward. There's a little bit of wiggle room in there. If there isn't enough room, I'll just egg out the holes with my Dremel tool. This is going to be... I purposely cut this door long so that I can kind of grind to fit, so that there's really minimal door gap there, so that when I weld it together it'll be a little easier. But that's cool. I didn't grind it yet. It fits like shit. It fits real tight. I still got a little bit of room to move forward. And then I could, you know, pick it up, get my door gaps right, and all that jazz. But I just wanted to show you where I fucked up again. So it's a good trick. That's a neat feature that I added to the car accidentally. Oh well. What are you gonna do? Well, this is how she's looking right now. Got the door welded in and as blended as good as I'm gonna get it. Instead of dealing with that little piece that was left up here, I just decided to cut it off and let the part that's already attached to the door come over, because it already wanted to follow the roof line, because that's where it came from. I think what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to, slice it kind of like I did in here and then just tip it up. I think I'm going to do that. And something I didn't show you guys, I probably should have mentioned it earlier, that gap I had in there to fill that gap. Same thing with the gaps around here. I got some old welding rods. I just took a hammer and knocked off the coating. Knocked all that shit off of it. Gave me a nice rod to lay in there for something to weld on to fill the gap and all that jazz. I'm really not going to put a whole lot more time into this. I got a driveway full of shit I got to do. Just to finish this little series off, I'm gonna finish this, weld that shut, just cut a little piece of sheet metal out. And I'll crudely, I could put the plastics on it, on the bottom of the two doors, crudely put them together. And that's why I didn't finish welding it down there, that seam, because I'm out of time. I gotta go. I'm just gonna cover it with plastics and see how it looks. So let me finish that off. I'll drag this guy out in the driveway, give it one final walk around, see what it looks like, and give you my final thoughts on it. Well, there she is, folks. She looks okay. I just kind of crudely put the plastics on there like I said I was going to do. That little spot there, I wasn't worried about. I got a yard full of shit to do. This thing's got to go. that top piece. Let me show you. This top piece, no matter what I did, the angle was never going to be right. That's out of the passenger door. I would need another driver's side door to get that looking right, and I don't have one, so I just kind of crudely tacked it in there with shitty tacks because my welder broke. The little plastic line between the tank and the welder broke. I lost all my gas, so that's kind of lame. But yeah, there she is. I'm somewhat happy with how it turned out. I guess it's my first time. I can't really be too hard on myself. I bet Picasso's first painting looked like shit, so, you know, whatever, it's alright, I guess. Learned a lot. Sheet metal skills are definitely more than what they were. I learned I don't like working with sheet metal. Heat control is very, very, very important. I'm sure all the issues I had with that door, with the dip in it, I'm sure that was all heat control. I know there's some gel you can put around. Like, let's say you're welding right here. You put gel right here to absorb heat. You could probably use grease if you wanted to. I didn't do none of that. So yeah, this was a cool project. In the beginning, I wanted to know how hard it was, and turns out it's pretty fucking hard. It's easy to slap it together, but to make it look right, you know, I fucked up numerous times, and I pointed them all out in the video, and it turned out okay. I'm somewhat happy with that door gap. It's okay. The back window there, it's really a blank slate. You can make it shape any way you want. I don't know if I would leave it like that. You could even put the guts back in it and make it go up and down if you really wanted to. But shape-wise, I wanted this car to look like a factory car. Let's say this car is rolling down the street. I don't want somebody to look at it, a non-car person, to notice that it's a custom. I want them just to think, oh, there's a Lincoln Town Car. I wanted it to look like something that Ford would do. And vehicles of an era tend to look alike, you know? You can tell a car from the early 90s because they all have similar traits from Ford. So for that back window, I would reference other two-door Fords of the era. And in this era, there was only two. There was the Mustang, and there was the Explorer Sport, my little Exploder. And that ain't much of a reference for this back window here. So you would have to, I don't know, just get creative. Think of something yourself. You could put an old school porthole like the other Lincolns had, but I think that would look fucking weird. Or you could just leave it like that. I mean, that's decent. That's all right, I guess. Couple more looks around. Well, unfortunately, that's it for this poor Lincoln. I pulled the fuses out of it, pulled the worm style hose clamps, I pulled the rear springs, the rear coils, because the odds are I'm going to own another Lincoln someday. I'm probably going to need them. I got to pull that tail light for my Lincoln. Then this guy's headed to the car show in the sky. It's probably going to be crushed. On that note, on that depressing note, thanks for watching YouTube. Thanks for watching me learn. Thanks for watching me improve my skills on this video. See you in the next one. Peace.